All right, what's up, everyone? I'm here with my good friend Roudy Nassif, all the way from Mexico. I'm up in chilly upstate New York, but Roudy, he's down in Mexico, living it up, having a good life. And I wanted to introduce you all to Roudy for a couple reasons. Well, one, I met him. Roudy and I are both coaches for the Quantum Circadian Certification, which is the first certification in quantum health. So that's where I met Roudy, and Roudy's also the founder of VivaRays. So he makes some very high-tech blue blockers. We're going to be talking about those, but Roudy has a great story of how he healed himself using the principles of quantum health and being a mitochondriac. So Roudy, let me turn it over to you. I know you've done a lot of cool stuff in your life. So if I missed anything, and if there's anything you want to highlight, please share it.
I'll actually start sharing my story, how I got into all of this, and people get surprised because I say, my story with this began when I was a little kid at school, and I was diagnosed with ADHD. And throughout my years at school as a kid, I really suffered from intense headaches, agitation, and inability to focus. And later on, growing up, I literally turned into a night owl, and I stayed up very late.
Roudy, like how old were you when all this started?
So when I was, at school, when I was struggling with headaches and whatnot, I was like 5 years old.
Oh, wow. So that's really young to be dealing with headaches.
Yeah, definitely. I was dealing with like intense headaches and a lot of agitation, and I would like do crazy stuff so that I'm kicked out of the class. Now I know why. At the time, I didn't understand why, and no one did. And then I was, diagnosed as ADHD. I guess the intuitive kid in me wanted to be outdoors and natural sunlight. And this is where I actually, at the age of 12 or 13, I used to do like a lot of trouble at school. And my main intention was to go to the beach in Lebanon after I get kicked out from class. So
that's awesome.
It's very interesting to remember those days. But yeah, I used to stay up very late feeling super wired and stimulated. And I would wake up the following morning really lacking in energy and not having enough focus and energy to run through the day. So eventually, day after day, this led me to deep depression, chronic fatigue, and complete disorientation. And to be honest with you, it was really sabotaging my professional life as an engineer.
Yeah.
I remember at the time, my memory and my cognition were extremely low. I mean, I can hardly read few pages from a book before I feel that my brain is exhausted and I need to take a nap. And my my relationships were also really suffering because I was living on an emotional daily roller coaster, and the future to me at the time, and I'm not joking about this, but it looked very dark and very gloomy. I was in a very dark place.
Yeah.
And I was really desperately wanting to feel better. However, to be honest, Nathan, I felt extremely tired and exhausted going from one doctor to another, and very overwhelmed with all the different health opinions about what I should be doing. So conventional medicine told me that I need to be taking prescription drugs. And thankfully, I had the awareness to refuse. So I started my journey with holistic medicine, going from one holistic doctor to another, and experimenting with all these different diets, and taking different supplements, herbal formulas, doing different therapies as well, experimenting with meditation techniques and physical exercise techniques. And while all of these really positively influenced my life and built a strong foundation in my life, I was unfortunately stuck in the same cycle of feeling extremely wired at night and waking up feeling exhausted and extremely depressed.
Yeah.
So miraculously, one specific event changed all of this.
Okay.
I actually went up north. At the time, I was living in Ontario, so I flew to Quebec, and I spent several weeks on a farm. It was a rural farm, and I was camping for 6 weeks. And I was exposed only to natural light during the day, and fire and candlelight during the evening.
Okay.
So,
So what age was this?
so that was approximately 7 to 8 years ago. So I was probably like 22, 23 years old.
Okay. So
Yeah.
you went through more than half your life struggling with these health challenges. You're trying to figure out, you weren't getting any answers. So you're on this rural farm in Quebec, and then what happens?
So basically, something miraculous happened. I mean, within a matter of 3 days, I started winding down in the evening, feeling relaxed and mellow. And then I started sleeping shortly after the sunset to then wake up before the sunrise for the first time in my life, feeling super rested, motivated, and energized. I literally went from feeling foggy-headed, almost suicidal, to be honest, to feeling super alive, focused, and motivated. I remember spending my whole day outdoors, farming, dancing, cooking, hiking, swimming in lakes, and most importantly, studying. For the first time in my life, I was actually able to study, and I was able to go through books without feeling exhausted, right? And to be honest, I was able to achieve in a 24-hour period more than I would usually do in a month.
That's unbelievable.
It's crazy, right? I mean, how did that magic happen? I didn't change my diet. I didn't take supplements, and I was still exercising and meditating in the same way, literally. So I was in complete awe on the farm, and that blew my mind. And unfortunately, this miraculously seeming magic didn't last very long, because when my trip ended at the farm, I moved back from the farm to the city. And at the time, I was still living in Toronto. And Nathan, within a matter of few weeks, literally, I fell back into my old terrible routine of staying up very late.
Yeah.
And waking up feeling extremely tired and extremely depressed. So at this point, I started wondering and contemplating whether it was my light environment that was causing all of this. And this question or contemplation led me to a 7-year journey where I started studying light, quantum biology, and circadian rhythm. And I started consulting the world's leading expert in this field. And as you may know, what I learned is something very simple, and I knew it as a kid. I learned that we are light beings, right? Yeah. And that physical reality itself is light that is vibrating at a lower speed. And this means that not only does light shape and mold every aspect of our life and well-being, but it is actually the nucleus of life itself. And the quality of our light exposure will literally determine the quality of our sleep, focus, productivity, mood, and well-being. But for most of us today, we are getting exposed to very little natural, healthy light. Right. And we are being bombarded by junk artificial light day and night.
Yeah. Well, your story totally resonates with me, because I remember first noticing, I was fortunate. I actually grew up in the country, and I had good health when I was young. But then as I got older, I started having fatigue and just a lot of the symptoms you had. I was depressed. It was hard to focus. I had digestive issues too. And as I got older, my light environment got worse and worse. And I remember going from I was always into like natural health and healing, and just having all this hope, like, oh, I'm going to try acupuncture. And I had such high hopes, like, this will fix me. And, hyperbaric oxygen, and just, there were so many different things I tried. So you're sharing your story. I'm just like remembering my own journey of trying all these different things, and it would fail. So Roudy, so you're on that farm, you had the realization, okay, the light environment is different. So who did you seek out to be your teacher and to learn more about this?
Well, first I was learning from Dr. Jack Kruse. I think he was one of the first people that I heard on a podcast talking about light. And he literally said something that stuck with me. He said, the right type of light at the right time of the day can create wonders in healing. However, the wrong type of light at the wrong time of the day will make you ill, depressed, and obese. And at the time, I didn't really understand what he meant. I was like, how could it be possible that something superficial, like light that we can turn on and off with a switch of light can deeply influence my health and my life. So I got really curious, and because I was experimenting with so many different things and not finding results, you know, the way Jack Roush was talking really resonated with me, even though I didn't really understand what he meant, but I felt like there's something in there for me.
Yeah.
And I started on this long journey of reading so many different books, which I think I was introduced first to several different books from Jack Roush, from Dr. John Ott, and Light is the Medicine of the Future as well, from Jacob Liberman, The Body Electric, so many different books, right?
Yeah.
And as I was reading through these books, I was actually having a very deep experience, because it was literally translating what was happening on the farm that I considered as magic.
Mm-hmm.
And I learned that there's no such thing like magic. You know, there's natural laws. And when I went to the farm, somehow I was tapping into these natural laws, and I was able to harness their powers into my life. So I experienced this radical transformation within 3 days, whereas, you know, years of conventional medicine and holistic medicine wasn't able to lead me up to that point where I was actually able to heal all of the different issues that I was struggling with.
Right.
So
right.
that started blowing my mind, right? Like, and it was quite deep to me, because I wasn't only reading a book and exposing my brain into information. It was actually going much deeper into my consciousness, because it was an experience. So it was knowledge rather than mere information that is being recorded upon my brain.
Yeah, it makes such a huge difference having that actual experience as opposed to reading about it in a book and kind of thinking, well, it sounds good, but I don't know what's going to happen.
Definitely.
So you're at this farm, you like light bulbs literally go off in your head. You have this healing experience. You go back to Toronto, things go back to your old ways. You're staying up late. Your energy levels go down. What happened after that?
Yeah, so I was desperately looking for a solution to be able to still live in the modern world while being able to manage my exposure to artificial light. So I learned about blue blocking glasses, and I instantly bought some online. And after trying so many, to be honest, I didn't experience the benefits that I felt on the farm. I first bought those clear blue light blocking glasses.
Oh, yeah.
And I fell into that trap, right? Like so many other people. And after trying them for a few weeks, I didn't experience any benefits whatsoever. So what I quickly learned is that those clear blue blocking glasses are actually a marketing gimmick. They do not work, because they block blue light up to 420 nanometer, which is not emitted by LED bulbs and screens. Those devices start emitting blue light from 430 nanometer, and they peak at 455. So wearing these clear blue blocking glasses is like trying to rinse your quinoa in a pasta strainer. Literally, the quinoa will end up passing through the hose because you're using the wrong filter.
Right.
And
so technically they do block blue light, but they're not blocking the frequencies that we're getting bombarded with and cause the most harm.
Definitely. And this is why you probably have seen those marketing ads where they run a blue pen and they show you that it's actually blocking that light. But it turns out that this pen is emitting blue-purple light at around 380, 390 nanometer. And again, this light is not being emitted from screens and bulbs.
Yeah, you know, the other thing that they tell you is it blocks UV light, like that's a good thing. So why would that not be a good idea to block UV light, you know, let's say when you're outside, for example?
Well, first of all, I mean, that's a false claim, because if we are indoors and exposed to LED bulbs and screens, we're most probably not going to be exposed to UV light, because those sources actually do not emit UV light. But so many people have fallen into the habit of thinking that UV light is bad and that they need to block it while being outdoors. And this is actually extremely problematic on so many different levels, right? I mean, UV actually is, we could talk for hours about the benefits of UV light. I mean, I don't think there's one area that is not biologically affected by the healing effect of UV light. But at the most fundamental level, UV light actually, UVB breaks down the cholesterol under the skin so that we can maintain a healthy cholesterol level. And when UV light shines on our skin and breaks down that cholesterol, our body can make all of the molecules that are derived from cholesterol, such as the sex hormones and the hormone vitamin D. So it's so basic that we can think of sunlight that, you know, as the main source of the hormone vitamin D, but there's much more into it. But you know, I was recently writing an article about love and the hormone of love, oxytocin, and I was doing some digging, and I learned something new about oxytocin and UVB and vitamin D. It turns out that oxytocin is actually controlled and activated by the hormone vitamin D.
I did not know that. Very interesting.
Yeah, like the production of oxytocin is tightly interconnected with your ability to make vitamin D. And, you know, every cell in our body.
So does it go both ways? If we have healthy levels of oxytocin, that's going to promote healthier levels of vitamin D. But if we have lower levels of oxytocin, does that mean it's going to be harder to make vitamin D?
Actually, our ability to make oxytocin is influenced by the levels of the hormone vitamin D in our body.
Okay, so if you have lower vitamin D, it's going to be more challenging to feel connection with other people.
Super challenging. And, you know, every cell in our body has a receptor for the hormone vitamin D, even our brain cells. And this makes it extremely challenging physiologically to be deficient on this hormone, right? So that's only one thing about UV, right? I mean, UV is also known to increase nitric oxide production and dilate the vessels in our body.
Yeah.
And this lowers blood pressure and induce feelings of relaxation and calm as well. I mean, it's well known that one session or one exposure to sunlight where you're getting enough amount of UV light will influence your blood pressure up to a week and will influence your nitric oxide production and your ability to feel calm and relaxed up to weeks from that exposure. So it's massive.
Wow, that's awesome. So I did take you off track of your story a little bit, but I know you're very knowledgeable in the different frequencies of light. So I wanted you to share that. And I'm glad I did, because I learned a little bit more about oxytocin. So back to blue blocking glasses, you started off with the clear blue lenses, which don't really block the harmful rays of blue light. What happened after that?
Then I learned about the orange tinted glasses, and those somehow worked. However, after some time, I started experiencing unexplainable drops of energy, and I didn't know why. And at this time, I really felt frustrated because I thought that eliminating the blue light from my life will finally be the end of all my problems. And it wasn't, right? I mean, it's not only about blue light, and there's much more to it. And what I actually learned is that blue light is not bad at all. It's actually, reset our circadian rhythm, and it improves our mood and increases our ability to focus during the day. So with that being said, at that point, I was a little bit confused about, like, well, is blue light good or bad? And what I actually learned is, just like anything in nature, blue light is relative, and it's not good or bad. And its effect on us will really depend on the time of the day that we're exposing ourselves to it, and whether or not it was balanced and proportionate with the other colors.
Okay.
And with this realization, the answer to the problem became easy, because most of the blue light that we expose ourselves to come from human man-made light, which we all call junk light, right? And I think this junk light is literally much worse than junk food. It's the McDonald's of lighting.
Yeah.
And replacing the natural sunlight and darkness with this chronic exposure to junk light day and night is like consuming spoonful of sugar and fast food rather than eating whole and organic food. And if we look at the sunlight spectral distribution, it's very symmetrical, it's very balanced, and it's very rich in all of the different colors. There's like symmetry and balance between those colors. So the blue is being balanced by the yellow, orange, and red. Whereas if you observe a spectral curve coming from an LED bulb or screen, it's actually peaking at 455 nanometer in the blue, and it's very deficient in the yellow, orange, and red. Yeah. Even super deficient in the blue turquoise. So with that being said, we come back into the timing of the day and what we're being exposed to. So anytime we want to protect ourselves from blue light, someone should ask themselves two questions. What time of the day is it? And what is the source that I'm being exposed to? Okay. And if the answer to this question is, well, it's daytime and I'm being exposed to the human man-made artificial light, then what we really need is a technology that actually is able to reduce the sharpness of blue light at 455 nanometer and making it more balanced and proportionate with the green and with the yellows. Okay. Okay. And this is so just if we have a visual here, so we've got this spike in blue, and then the other colors are kind of lower down here. So what you're saying is just bringing down that spike. So not eliminating all the blue, but bringing down that spike to the level of the other visible colors. Is that what you're saying? Definitely. So anytime it's daytime, we really need that blue. And if we block 100% of it, we're going to run into circadian problems, because this is the frequency that activate melanopsin and signal to our brain that it's daytime. And therefore, we need it in a balanced way. So in order to achieve that balance, and knowing that we are indoors being exposed to unbalanced light, we need a technology that is able to transform rather than block. I use the word transform for a reason, because we want to decrease the sharpness of that blue light at 455 nanometer and transform it into green and yellow, so that we have more of the green and yellows, so that these colors become more proportionate with that peak at 455 nanometer. Oh, so we're not just reducing the blue, we're raising the other colors too. Yes, totally. And this really separates us from other daytime glasses in the market. And mostly you see a lot of the yellow tinted glasses, which we had back in the day, and we changed after a conversation that I had with Dr. Samer Hittar, which made so much sense to me, because if you're blocking 100% of the blue light at 455 nanometer, somehow you're tapping into a reductionist mindset. You're eliminating a color completely, rather than thinking of, well, how can I balance it? How can I make it more proportionate? And the other problem, Nathan, is that if you're sitting around windows as well, and there's all this blue turquoise that would be coming from the window, those glasses that block 100% of the blue light at 455 nanometer, in the process of doing this, they will wipe out all of the blue turquoise at 480 nanometer. Okay. And this is a tremendously important frequency during the day. Otherwise, we're going to start feeling drowsy and sleepy at the wrong time of the day, which happened to me when I first started using those technologies. Yeah. Okay. Well, so my understanding, though, that the yellow, that blocks 450 and below, and you're saying like turquoise, that's around 480 to 500. So the yellow, I guess they're not blocking out the turquoise, but the 450, they're blocking out too much. Is that what you're saying? Well, that's the thing. They are actually blocking 100% of the blue light at 455 nanometer. Okay. But the curve doesn't have enough range to pick up a lot of transmission at 480. So in the process of eliminating the blue light at 455, you've already eliminated most of the blue light most of the blue turquoise at 480 nanometer. Okay. Okay. So you're barely getting any transmission between 480 transmission of light between 480 and 500, which is very problematic. Okay. So it's not a straight drop off with the curve. It's more of an angle. Yeah, it got to pick up, and it picks it up at an angle, which makes it super challenging to increase the transmission at 480 nanometer, because
Yeah. Okay.
you're going from 100% blocking at 455 to maximizing that frequency at a frequency of light that is very close to where you're eliminating it, which makes it super challenging.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. So those are your daytime ones. So what are some of the benefits people tend to notice wearing the VivaRays daytime versus the other yellow daytime blue blockers available?
Well, so basically the beauty about the daytime glasses is, again, that it's transforming this frequency, and it's also designed to maximize the blue turquoise at 480 nanometer, which could be coming from a window or from any natural resource of light. So with that being said, this will mean that you're no longer going to experience those headaches, eye strain, and eye fatigue that you usually experience in front of those devices. But at the same time, since you're enabling a lot of the blue turquoise, you're going to maintain a high and steady, sustainable energy level throughout the whole day without feeling drowsy and tipsy. Like most of the people who have used the yellow tinted glasses have reported to us that they could use it like an hour or an hour and a half, but then at some point they need to take it off and, you know, get a lot of light in their eyes because they start feeling sleepy.
Yeah.
And the main reason why they are feeling sleepy is because they're eliminating that 455 and wiping out a lot of the blue turquoise at the same time.
Got it. Okay. And then their cortisol is taking a hit. And then that's one of the things making them more sleepy.
Definitely.
Got it. Okay. Okay. So you have the daytime ones. So the ones I started off with are not the nighttime ones, but I guess the kind of earlier nighttime ones. So these are what they look like. I love them. They're awesome, very durable, and I like the style. And they also, let me see if I can find the case real quick, because the case is awesome. So this is the case they came in. So this is bamboo, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So it's bamboo. So their materials are sustainable. Also, the plastic packaging it came in, it says that it's biodegradable on the packaging. So it's like a plant-based plastic?
Yes, plant-based plastic for sure. And all of the bamboo and the wood is coming from an FSC certified certification, which means it's a certification that ensures that the harvesting of the wood and the management of the forestry is happening in a sustainable way, because there's so much abuse to wood today that this certification was very, very important to us. And one of our biggest values in VivaRays is sustainability, because let's face it, you know, Nathan, you know, no matter how much we block blue light and no matter how much we optimize our mitochondria, if we're actually not creating an environment that is sustainable for us and for the future generation, there's no mitochondria that is going to evolve, right? We're gonna actually cut ourselves from our natural evolution, because environment is very important. And it's our only resource that we could tap into and actually be able to evolve as a human species. So, you know, many people say like, well, I could get cheap blue blocking glasses from Amazon. And beside those glasses being, you know, very lacking in their ability to block blue light in the proper way, I invite people also to start looking into the material and the values of the people that they are supporting, right? Because, well, what good would it make if we're becoming healthy, yet we're doing this on, and it's costing us the cleanness of our environment.
Yeah, yeah. I agree 100%. And I love that you guys are the full package. You're helping people sleep better, which improves their health. You're helping people be more focused and energized during the day. But not only that, the materials you use are sustainable, and you're doing something that matters. Like a lot of this whole green movement, it's singularly focused on CO2 emissions. and they're not looking at like all these corporations dumping mercury into the environment or glyphosate into the environment. Like they're completely missing that. So I love that you guys took that initiative and you have this super cool, packaging that's engraved with cool stuff. And there's a quote on here: sunshine, a good laugh, and a long sleep are nature's greatest healers. So it's just, it's super cool. So Roudy, tell me about the 500 nanometer orange ones. How do these differ? Because that, when I was younger, I had a ton of, and before I knew better, I was kind of like a sunglass whore. I had all these like Prada, and I forget all the different brand sunglasses like Armani. I spent so much money on these sunglasses because I wanted to look cool, right? Now I have all these different blue blockers. I've got like blue tack, I have the yellow ones, I have the 500 nanometer ones, I have 550 nanometer, I have prescription, nighttime ones. How do these differ from like my other 500 nanometer and below blocking glasses?
So for the evening lenses, we wanted something that will block all of the blue, yet will enable you to still run your evening activities, cook, socialize, and do your things without feeling very sleepy. And especially in the shorter days of the year, during the winter, fall, and spring, when the sun sets very early.
Yeah.
Now, when we were designing these lenses, we actually took in consideration two different things. One is the color temperature of the fire at 1800 Kelvin. So we wanted to create lenses that exactly mimic this color temperature, because as you may know, this twilight color and the color temperature of a fire is something that throughout evolution has enabled us to wind down and relax. And, I always ask people, like, how do you feel around a fire? I'm pretty sure you're someone who loves bonfire. I mean, how do you usually feel when you're around a bonfire?
Yeah, I love camping, and part of the reason I love camping is because you build a fire and you just chill out and you hang around the fire and you just have good conversations, right? And it's
Definitely.
just very relaxing. Feels nice to kind of disconnect from the stress of life and just kick back and relax and just chit chat.
Totally. So that's exactly it. I mean, you wind down, you relax, yet you have enough energy to dance, cook, and socialize with your friends. So this is one aspect that we really wanted to embed in these glasses. And the other aspect is we wanted to block all of the blue, but also the highest frequency green. So we chose a formula so that we could target all of the blue light and the green light up to 420, 425 nanometer. And we found that within this range, it's actually blocking enough light so that you're winding down and calming and relaxing, and that you still have a good range of vision.
Okay.
So that you can run your task.
Is that 425 or 525?
No, it's 525.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm sorry if I said 425. So it's 525.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, so here's where the evening glasses came from.
Okay.
And compared to other evening glasses in the market, there's a lot of them that block only the blue up to 500 nanometer.
Yeah.
And based on testing so many, we saw also that so many of them were leaking. Now, let me explain the term leaking. This time you could think of leaking as if you're actually rinsing your quinoa in a quinoa strainer, but then it has little holes in it, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And when this happens in the lens technology, it will mean that it would be blocking all the light up to 500 nanometer. However, if you zoom in on a specific frequency, for example, 480 nanometer, you'll see that it's blocking 90%.
Huh.
So that there's like still 10% that is leaking.
Okay.
And this could be happening across so many different frequencies.
Got it.
Which is not optimal.
All right. So yours is able to block, there's no leaking with these lenses.
Yeah, we actually run vigorous testing on every lens and we make sure that it's blocking up to 99% of the wanted light that we're targeting at every nanometer or frequency of light.
Okay. And then you have the bedtime ones, which block up to 550 nanometers.
So the nighttime one actually block up to 560 nanometers.
Okay.
And they block 100% up to 560. And they're designed to decrease the brightness of light by 20 times. Because as you may know, bright light of any color also could activate melanopsin ganglion cells and shift not only melanopsin ganglion cells, by the way, the rods and the cones, which signal to melanopsin as well. And
so for example, I could have like my red light panel, which is 600, the visible part is 660 nanometers. If I have that on at night without the glasses, that can impair my sleep too. Is that what you're saying?
Yes, definitely, because it's too bright and it's going to activate the rods and the cones in the eye in the wrong direction, because it's not only about melanopsin, which most people assume it's only about melanopsin. The rods and the cones also signal to melanopsin and to the IPRGCs, and they could brightness of light and intensity of light and duration of light at the wrong time of the day could shift our sleep and the melatonin onset in the wrong direction.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. So your glasses. Oh, I'm sorry. Go on.
Yeah, I was just gonna add that also compared to other red tinted glasses in the market, most of these glasses, based on testing, claim to block 100% up to 550, but based on our testing, they're blocking 90% up to 550. And you could easily notice this when you wear two glasses that is actually blocking 100% at 550 and is not, because you'll notice the difference in the brightness in your environment.
Okay. All right. Interesting. So I know you shared before you have a background as an engineer. Did you design this lens technology, or did you have the help of somebody else?
Yes, I did a lot of the engineering work for getting what we really want. And we're also collaborating with some optic experts in British Columbia that help us with the process. And this enabled us to have access to high quality testing equipment that enabled us to do like super vigorous testing.
Okay, that's awesome. I mean, can you share a little bit about the daytime ones, how it not only decreases blue but increases the other colors? I mean, I can't even begin to comprehend how you guys accomplished that.
Yeah, so technically speaking, when you're reducing that blue light at 455 nanometer, through the tint that we've embedded in our lenses, and through the coloring of that tint, which is very pale yellow, so to speak, it's actually transforming these frequency of light and adding onto the yellow part of the spectrum and the green part of the spectrum. So so much so that if we take a test, and I could send you a spectral curve of a before and after, you'll notice that not only that blue light is actually reduced at 455 nanometer, but also the spectral curve around the green and yellow is becoming slightly richer.
Okay.
And it's one other cool part is the percentage at which the 455 nanometer is decreased is becoming equal to the emission of green and yellow light.
Okay. Wow. That's fascinating. Okay. I'm going to have to order some more of your glasses, because I mean, I'm fortunate. I work out of a home office. I have a window. Normally my window's open. I don't know if you can hear the wind howling. It's super windy, so it's closed right now. But normally I'm able to get that full spectrum of light in my office. But I just want to experience it too. So I'm gonna have to add to my blue blocking collection. But Roudy, thanks for sharing all this. This is super awesome, and congratulations. How long have you had VivaRays now?
So VivaRays, we've been officially operating for a year.
Okay.
We were operating under a different name before then for almost 7 months. And we completely rebranded everything. And some of the partners that were with us before went their own way. So we kind of started from with a new brand and with a new direction as well.
Okay, cool. So what is the name? Where does Viva come from?
So
what
so Viva
inspired
is
you to
life.
name it?
Viva means life, and rays are the rays of light. So it literally combines, the the life that sunlight brings to us as a human being through its own rays, right?
Yeah, yeah, that's awesome. Well, I wish you all the best with your business, and listeners, if you want to support a young entrepreneur and a business that is protecting and doing its part to truly help the environment, then there's a link below in the comments, and I've got a coupon code to help save you 15%. And check out Roudy's glasses. Anything else that you want to share, Roudy?
Yeah, I want to invite people to, if they want to learn more about quantum biology, circadian rhythm, and light, we have written a super cool e-booklet that is very condensed and that literally simplifies big principles into actionable steps that someone could take today in order to elevate their light environment to a whole new level of alignment with nature, and instantly, just like I did on the farm, start experiencing better sleep, more energy and focus, and better productivity in your life. So I want to invite you to download this free e-booklet off our website, www.vivarays.com. And if you have any questions, anything that you'd like to share with us, we're always there for you. So don't hesitate to reach out to us at support@vivarays.com, and we're happy to help.
Yeah, you guys have a great newsletter, and I get a lot of emails, but you guys are always doing your part to educate, and I'm always trying to learn, and I've learned some new things today. I've learned some new things from your newsletter. So keep on teaching, keep on changing the world. And any other big goals for you in addition to growing your company? Like, what else are you working on?
Yes, definitely. So at the moment, we're working on two big goals. One is light bulbs that will actually revolutionize the indoor lighting industry. And we're not talking about simple red bulbs or simple orange bulbs, because I truly do not believe in those. And I truly don't think that these bulbs are resolving our problems when being indoors. I truly think that we need something that is as dynamic as sunlight in the way it's emitting the luminous flux, its intensity, the position, the angle at which it's hitting the cornea and the eye, as well as the richness of the spectral distribution and the ability of this spectral distribution to change across the whole day and across the season. So we're working on something magnificently cool that will be able to take in consideration all of these different dynamic aspects. And it's not going to be anything close to sunlight, or it's not going to be anything close to being able to replace sunlight, because there's no such a thing. And even in 1,000 years from now, we're not going to create something that replaces sunlight. And that's not the intention. The intention is to tune into sunlight as often as possible, and to have something indoors that is a supplement, so to speak, that will enable us to stay in harmony with the light and dark cycles and with the seasons, and induce perfect alertness during the day while not depleting our serotonin and dopamine, and induce a great sleep at night at the same time.
That's awesome. Well, I'm excited to check those out. But Roudy, keep up the great work. Wish you all the best. And so VivaRays.com, that's the website. Do you want to share any of your social media places for people to follow?
Yeah, definitely. So you can find us on Instagram and Facebook as well under the name VivaRays. And that's where we share a lot of our educational material as well.
Awesome. All right, Roudy, thanks for joining us. And
thanks, Nathan.
We'll talk soon.
Okay, awesome.